You were taught to become addicted to attention, approval, and being chosen, but that addiction is quietly destroying your power. Because the moment you become addicted to your own growth, your own discipline, and your own inner peace, everything shifts. The way you think changes. The way you walk changes. The way people see you changes. And most importantly, the way you see yourself changes forever. Have you noticed how easily people become addicted to being chosen, being noticed, being validated, being needed? They wake up thinking about who replied, who ignored them, who praised them, who doubted them, who watched them, who forgot them. Their whole emotional climate changes because of something outside of them. A message can raise them. Silence can destroy them. One compliment can make them feel alive. One rejection can make them question their worth. And then they say they want peace. But how can there be peace when your center is not inside you? How can there be stillness when your identity is tied to things that move, to people who change, to circumstances that do not ask for your permission before they shift? The day everything changes is the day your devotion returns home. The day your life begins to transform is the day you stop begging the world to tell you who you are, and you start building such a deep relationship with your own mind, your own discipline, your own growth, your own soul, that being with yourself no longer feels like loneliness. It feels like power. Most people are not suffering because life has been unfair to them. Many are suffering because they abandoned themselves too many times. They said yes when their spirit said no. They stayed where they were shrinking. They performed for approval. They traded self-respect for temporary comfort. They let distraction become a lifestyle. They let comparison become a daily ritual. They let their energy leak into places that never intended to nourish them. Then one day they look in the mirror and ask, where did I go? But the better question is not where did you go? The better question is, why did you keep leaving? You must understand this with absolute clarity. The world will always offer you addictions. Addiction to noise, addiction to romance, addiction to attention, addiction to being busy, addiction to being pitied, addiction to being rescued, addiction to entertainment, addiction to endless scrolling, addiction to fantasy, addiction to your own old story. And these addictions do not always look dangerous at first. Sometimes they look normal. Sometimes they look like what everyone else is doing. Sometimes they look like ambition. Sometimes they even disguise themselves as love. But if something takes you further away from your own center, from your own truth, from your own dignity, then no matter how attractive it appears, it is a thief. So become addicted to something else. Become addicted to clarity. Become addicted to keeping promises to yourself. Become addicted to your own transformation. Become addicted to the feeling that comes when your body grows stronger, your mind grows quieter, your emotions grow steadier, your standards grow higher, and your dependence on external validation grows weaker. Become addicted to meeting yourself at deeper and deeper levels. Become addicted to learning who you are when nobody is watching. Because that version of you, the one built in silence, the one shaped in discipline, the one refined in private, that version is dangerous in the most beautiful way. That version does not beg. That version does not chase crumbs. That version does not collapse because somebody withdrew attention. That version has roots. There is a kind of joy the world cannot give you. And because the world cannot give it, the world cannot take it. But this joy is not found in constant stimulation. It is found in alignment. It is found when the way you live matches what you know. It is found when your actions stop betraying your values. It is found when your mornings stop beginning with chaos. It is found when you stop escaping yourself. It is found when you become so committed to your growth that your own presence starts to feel nourishing. Then something strange begins to happen. You stop needing people to clap for every small step. You stop announcing every intention. You stop looking around to see who is noticing. Because the work itself becomes rewarding. The becoming becomes rewarding. The discipline becomes rewarding. The private victory becomes enough to keep going. Look closely at the people who are always emotionally unstable. Often they are attached to outcomes they cannot control. They need someone to behave a certain way. They need life to unfold according to their expectations. They need everybody to understand them. They need things to happen quickly. They need certainty. They need reassurance. They need proof. They need constant signs that they are on the right path. But inner freedom begins when you no longer build your well-being on unstable foundations. When you stop saying, I will be okay when this person returns. I will be confident when they admire me. I will be peaceful when everything goes my way. I will start once I feel motivated. No, peace is built now. Confidence is built now. Stability is built now. Not after the world becomes easier, but while it is still testing you. There is a reason many people fear being alone. It is not because solitude is cruel. It is because in solitude everything unhealed becomes audible. The distractions fall away, the performance ends, the noise softens, and then you hear what you have been avoiding: your self-doubt, your grief, your impatience, your dependency, your excuses, your hunger to be seen, your fear of being ordinary, your fear of being forgotten, your fear of not being enough. Many people would rather drown in distraction than sit long enough to meet these truths. But if you have courage, solitude becomes sacred. It becomes a mirror. It becomes a teacher. It becomes a furnace in which a softer but stronger self is forged. To become addicted to yourself does not mean arrogance. It does not mean vanity. It does not mean obsession with appearance. It does not mean becoming self-centered in the shallow sense. It means becoming deeply invested in your own inner order. It means respecting your mind enough not to poison it. It means respecting your body enough not to neglect it. It means respecting your time enough not to waste it on nonsense. It means respecting your future enough to act like it matters. It means becoming so rooted in your own path that the cheap invitations of the world start losing their charm. The truth is, many people do not need more motivation. They need fewer escapes. They do not need another inspirational quote saved to their phone. They need honesty. They need to admit what they are feeding every day. Because whatever you feed grows. If you feed distraction, distraction grows. If you feed insecurity, insecurity grows. If you feed resentment, resentment grows. If you feed lust, envy, laziness, gossip and confusion, do not be surprised when your life feels heavy and your mind feels weak. But if you feed discipline, silence, movement, reading, reflection, restraint, gratitude, and deliberate action, then slowly your inner world begins to reorganize itself. Transformation is not dramatic in the beginning. This is why many quit. They want fireworks. They want instant confidence. They want one routine to fix 10 years of self-betrayal. They want one good week to erase a lifetime of inconsistency. But real change is quieter than that. It begins when you get up when you said you would. It begins when you stop touching your phone the moment you wake up. It begins when you sit with discomfort instead of running from it. It begins when you finish what you start. It begins when you take responsibility for your emotional state. It begins when you stop making your pain everyone else's job to solve. Small acts, repeated daily, with reverence, with patience, with no need for applause. And then one day you notice something. You walk differently. You speak differently. Your eyes are calmer. Your reactions are slower. Your standards are cleaner. What used to tempt you no longer tempts you the same way. What used to break you now merely teaches you. What used to distract you now feels too expensive. What used to feel impossible now feels inevitable. This is how everything shifts, not because luck arrived, not because the world suddenly became kind, but because you changed your relationship with yourself. The person who is deeply connected to themselves becomes difficult to manipulate. Why? Because manipulation depends on hunger. If I can sense that you are starving for approval, I can control you with praise. If I can sense that you are terrified of abandonment, I can control you with withdrawal. If I can sense that you do not know your own worth, I can make you bargain against yourself. If I can sense that you avoid being alone, I can keep you in unhealthy places by threatening distance. But when you have spent time building your own center, you become less available for these games. You can walk away. You can be misunderstood without panicking. You can disappoint people without collapsing. You can say no without guilt swallowing your spine. Many people think power is loud. They think power is domination, aggression, showing off, being admired. But there is a quieter power that is much rarer. The power to remain steady when provoked. The power to be patient when your ego wants speed. The power to choose discipline over impulse. The power to say, this may hurt, but it will not govern me. The power to love without losing yourself. The power to let go without becoming bitter. The power to keep building when nobody knows how hard it is. This power belongs to the person who has stopped outsourcing their identity. When you become devoted to yourself in the right way, your choices begin to purify. You stop entering rooms that require you to abandon your values. You stop entertaining conversations that leave your soul dirty. You stop eating every craving. You stop believing every emotion. You stop obeying every urge. You stop romanticizing people who are only lessons. You stop waiting for permission to become who you already know you need to become. That is when your life starts to gather force. Energy that was once scattered becomes focused. Emotion that was once chaotic becomes directed. Desire that was once impulsive becomes intentional. Ask yourself, what do you repeatedly return to when no one is forcing you? That is where your devotion is. Not what you say matters, not what you post, not what you announce, what you repeatedly return to. Do you return to distraction? Do you return to excuses? Do you return to people who drain you? Do you return to fantasies instead of effort? Or do you return to practice, to growth, to stillness, to building, to learning, to strengthening? Your life is being shaped by your returns. Every day you are kneeling before something. Every day you are saying with your actions, this is what I serve. Be careful what you worship, because what many call love is actually attachment. What many call rest is actually avoidance. What many call freedom is actually lack of discipline. What many call self-expression is actually emotional immaturity. And what many call being real is just repeated indulgence in their lower nature. There is nothing noble about living at the mercy of every passing mood. There is nothing enlightened about being unable to control your tongue, your appetite, your attention, your temper. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel. Freedom is not being enslaved by what you feel. If you want everything to shift, begin by changing the source from which you draw your sense of aliveness. Stop drawing it from being wanted. Stop drawing it from being entertained. Stop drawing it from being admired. Draw it from becoming. Draw it from mastery. Draw it from alignment. Draw it from knowing that today, in some small way, you became harder to fool, harder to distract, harder to break, and easier to trust. Your own trust in yourself is priceless. Once it is strong, many addictions begin to fall away on their own, because you no longer need them the same way. You know why many people remain stuck? Because they keep negotiating with the habits that are killing them. They say, just one more day, just one more indulgence, just one more excuse, just one more week of inconsistency, just one more season of emotional chaos. But every repetition becomes identity. Every tolerated weakness becomes a resident. Every compromise teaches your mind what standard to expect. You cannot build a powerful life while making daily agreements with your own sabotage. At some point, you must become tired of your own patterns. Not in a way that makes you hate yourself, but in a way that makes you finally respect your potential enough to stop insulting it. You are not here merely to consume life. You are here to participate in it consciously, to refine yourself, to observe your mind, to train your impulses, to deepen your awareness, to become a place where peace can live. And this cannot happen if all your energy is being stolen by the trivial. The trivial is expensive. Cheap pleasures often carry expensive consequences. Endless scrolling costs attention. Gossip costs purity. Comparison costs gratitude. Validation seeking costs self-respect. Laziness costs destiny. Resentment costs joy. The bill always comes. So make your inner life beautiful, not performative beautiful. Let your room become a place of order. Let your body become a place of strength. Let your breath become a place of return. Let your routine become a place of trust. Let your mind become a place where truth can stand upright. Let your speech become cleaner. Let your appetite become wiser. Let your standards become sharper. And let your solitude become rich enough that you are no longer desperate to fill it with whoever arrives first. There is a very different energy in a person who enjoys their own company because they have done the work to become good company for themselves. They do not rush. They do not cling. They do not beg to be included everywhere. They are selective, not because they are arrogant, but because they have learned the cost of misaligned company. They know that not every invitation is an opportunity. Some invitations are interruptions disguised as excitement. Some relationships are delays disguised as romance. Some entertainments are emptiness disguised as relief. Wisdom is learning to feel the energetic cost of things before you pay it. And yes, there will be resistance. The old you will not disappear quietly. The part of you that loves comfort, distraction, laziness, and emotional drama will protest. It will say, start tomorrow. It will say, you deserve a break before you have earned one. It will say, one more time will not matter. It will say, being disciplined is too extreme. It will say, you are missing out. It will say, others have it easier. It will say, you need motivation first. Listen carefully, not every voice inside you deserves authority. Some voices are echoes of your weakest habits. Some voices are not wisdom. They are withdrawal symptoms from the identities you are outgrowing. When you stop feeding those voices, they become louder for a while. This surprises people. They think if they choose growth, everything should immediately feel easy. But often the opposite happens first. When you remove a distraction, the craving screams. When you choose silence, your restlessness becomes obvious. When you choose discipline, your excuses become visible. When you choose self-respect, your old attachments feel threatened. Good. Let them shake, let them reveal themselves. You are not failing because your lower habits are protesting. You are finally seeing what has been ruling you. Many people wait until they feel worthy before they start investing in themselves. But worthiness grows through action. Confidence grows through evidence. Self-love grows through self-honoring behavior. You do not build a relationship with yourself by repeating flattering words while continuing to betray your own needs. You build it by how you live, by whether you rest with intention or collapse from avoidance, by whether you nourish your body or neglect it, by whether you keep your word, by whether you sit down to do the difficult thing when every part of you wants to escape. That is love. Quiet, muscular love, not sentimental, not decorative, transformative. There comes a point where your future begins to watch you. It watches what you do with your mornings. It watches what you tolerate in relationships. It watches how quickly you recover from emotional disturbance. It watches whether you tell the truth to yourself. It watches whether you remain loyal to your growth when nobody is praising you for it. And your future is shaped by these ordinary moments much more than by rare dramatic events. Destiny is often hidden in routine. So stop waiting for a crisis to wake you up. Stop waiting for betrayal to teach you self-respect. Stop waiting for exhaustion to teach you rest. Stop waiting for loneliness to teach you self-connection. Stop waiting for failure to teach you discipline. Wisdom does not always need disaster as a teacher. You can learn through observation. You can learn through awareness. You can say, enough. I see where this path leads, and I will not keep walking it just because it is familiar. Imagine becoming so connected to your own mission that your mood does not decide your effort anymore. Imagine becoming so familiar with your own soul that you can sense immediately when something is pulling you out of alignment. Imagine respecting your energy so much that you no longer hand it to people who treat your presence casually. Imagine becoming so inwardly fulfilled that attention no longer intoxicates you. Imagine becoming so disciplined that temptation becomes boring. This is not fantasy. This is what begins to happen when your relationship with yourself becomes sacred. You do not need to become someone else. You need to remove what is not truly you. The laziness is not you. The inconsistency is not you. The addiction to approval is not you. The compulsive distraction is not you. The self-doubt repeated so often it started sounding like your own voice is not you. These are layers, conditionings, habits, defenses, survival strategies, learned dependencies. But beneath all of that, there is a cleaner force, a quieter intelligence, a steadier self that has been waiting for your return. Every act of discipline is a homecoming. Every moment of honesty is a homecoming. Every boundary is a homecoming. Every refusal to abandon yourself is a homecoming. And once you taste this, once you taste the deep satisfaction of self, respect the clean energy of alignment, the quiet joy of being inwardly governed, a lot of things lose their seduction. Drama becomes exhausting. Shallow attention becomes empty. Cheap entertainment becomes dull. Half-hearted connections become obvious. You begin to crave depth. You begin to crave truth. You begin to crave the kind of life that can hold your spirit without polluting it. This is a beautiful craving. Protect it. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Where it goes, your life follows. If your energy is scattered across 10 trivial obsessions, your life will feel fragmented. If your energy is invested in your healing, your discipline, your craft, your body, your clarity, your devotion, your life will gather momentum. Stop saying you have no time when what you really mean is your attention has been captured. Stop saying you are lost when what you really are is overstimulated. Stop saying you lack discipline when in truth you are still too attached to what weakens you. A person who is devoted to themselves in the deepest sense does not become colder. They become clearer. They can love better because they do not love from emptiness. They can give without secretly trying to receive identity in return. They can walk beside others without making those others their oxygen. They can be present without becoming entangled. They can listen without absorbing everything. They can care without collapsing. Why? Because their center is not up for rent. Do not underestimate the spiritual weight of ordinary self-neglect. Every time you repeatedly ignore what you know would help you, you teach yourself that your own well-being is optional. Every time you sacrifice your peace to avoid disappointing others, you teach yourself that your boundaries are disposable. Every time you numb your discomfort instead of understanding it, you strengthen your dependence on avoidance. This is why the shift must become ruthless in its sincerity, not cruel, sincere. Honest enough to stop pretending you do not know what drains you. Honest enough to stop calling poison by softer names. You already know more than you practice. That is the painful truth for many. The issue is not ignorance. The issue is divided devotion. One part of you wants the higher life. Another part still worships convenience. One part of you wants peace. Another part still loves the habits that create chaos. One part wants respect. Another part keeps entertaining what humiliates your spirit. And until devotion becomes unified, life will continue to feel like inner civil war. The shift happens when you decide which self gets fed. Feed the one that can sit in silence. Feed the one that can delay gratification. Feed the one that can tell the truth. Feed the one that can keep the promise. Feed the one that chooses depth over image. Feed the one that knows discomfort is often the doorway. Feed the one that would still do the work even if nobody ever found out. There is no wasted effort in becoming a stronger vessel for your own life. Every workout counts. Every page counts. Every prayer counts. Every journal entry counts. Every boundary counts. Every early night counts. Every honest no counts. Every time you choose not to react from ego counts. Every time you return your attention from nonsense back to your path counts. You may not see the full result today, but nothing true is being lost. You are storing force. You are storing clarity. You are storing self-trust. And one day what looked like small discipline will reveal itself as total transformation. So the next time you feel the urge to chase what does not choose you, return to yourself. The next time you feel weak because someone withdrew attention, return to yourself. The next time you are tempted to abandon your routine because emotion is loud, return to yourself. The next time you are about to break your own boundary just to feel less alone, return to yourself. The next time your lower habits begin to negotiate, return to yourself. Again and again, return. This returning is the practice. This returning is the path. This returning is how a scattered life becomes a powerful one. And understand, this path is not about becoming rigid. It is about becoming real. Real enough to know that your life changes according to what you repeatedly do with your mind, your body, your attention, your time, your desires. Real enough to know that no one is coming to install discipline inside you. Real enough to know that healing is not passive. Real enough to know that you cannot think your way into a different life while behaving in loyalty to the old one. There is greatness in becoming internally governed. There is beauty in becoming difficult to tempt with what once controlled you. There is grace in becoming a person whose peace is not easily negotiated. And there is something deeply attractive, deeply magnetic, deeply transformative about a human being who has stopped begging life for permission and started shaping themselves with devotion. So become that devoted, become that disciplined, become that rooted, become that honest, become that selective, become that inwardly reach. Let your habits announce your standards. Let your focus announce your priorities. Let your restraint announce your maturity. Let your consistency announce your seriousness. Let your calm announce your depth. Let your life slowly become evidence that when a person stops chasing the world and starts mastering themselves, everything begins to reorganize around that force. Because once you are no longer starving for the wrong things, you stop settling for them. Once you are nourished by purpose, distractions lose flavor. Once you are strengthened by discipline, excuses lose credibility. Once you are fulfilled by inner alignment, empty praise loses power. Once you are anchored in yourself, external storms may still come, people may still leave, plans may still fail, seasons may still change, but you do not disappear with them. You remain, you build, you deepen. You rise with less noise and more certainty. And then even your presence begins to change. People feel that you are no longer easy to pull off your path. They feel that your yes means something and your no means something. They feel that you are not available for every chaotic exchange, every shallow thrill, every manipulative pattern, every wandering appetite. They may not understand what changed, but something did. You stopped treating yourself like a place to visit only when everything else fell apart. You became your own foundation. You became your own discipline. You became your own refuge. You became your own standard. You became the one person in your life you would no longer betray. And from there, watch carefully how everything starts to move.